Hello and welcome. My name is Juan. I am here with Mark and Kevin, and we like movies. And I will try to speak faster since we've gotten some criticism that I speak too slowly during my intros.
Hey,
So here we go. Today we are reviewing the film Drive My Car, which was released in 2021. It is a Japanese dramatic film co-written and directed by Ryusuke Hamaguchi, and it deals with the grief and loss of a middle-aged theater director following the premature death of his wife. There are certainly more things, more plot points outside of that, some very interesting ones. But yeah, before we get into, oh, well, this was my pick. So why
Yeah.
don't I just kick us off? I enjoyed this movie. It is a very long movie with a runtime of 2 hours and 59 minutes. It
Hmm.
is also an award winning movie as it won the Academy Award for Best International Feature Film as well as the Cannes Film Festival Award for Best Screenplay. But yeah, this was a very interesting movie to me. I was is it was again interesting because it's slow paced and yet I was pretty hooked the entire time, and I felt that that was a combination of. Is that a sigh because you disagree?
There's no sign here. I didn't say.
Okay,
If you're
okay.
talking to me, that might have been Kevin.
Thought I heard something. Okay.
No, no, no.
Well, but yes, I felt that it was a combination of some really fantastic writing, some great acting, some masterful work by the director, beautiful scenery and cinematography. I don't think this is a movie for everyone, but it definitely was, again, great storytelling, hit on some important topics, including, you know, death and loss, marriage and divorce, and even, you know, art and friendship. So again, yeah, I'm curious to hear what you gentlemen think about it. But as for me, I enjoyed it.
All right, who's up? You want to go, Kevin?
I'll,
You want me to
I'll
go?
go. I'll go. I'll
Okay.
go.
All right.
All right. Funny thing. After watching it, I was wondering how Juan happened to hear about this seemingly obscure little movie. And so after I watched it, I was like, oh, let me look into it. And I was doing research for the podcast. I found out that the movie wasn't so obscure. Like it
Mm,
was nominated for a ton of awards. It was actually nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards also.
mm-hmm.
And it won the Golden Globes. So apparently, it was just my scope in life has become more narrow.
Correct.
So, 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 what an odd little movie was my initial thought. Not in length or anything like that, but in its own scope. It felt very pulled in and focused. And Asian cinema has like this different rhythm to it, like Juan had said, like a different cadence. They hold on to they hold on to these shots longer. They let thoughts linger in the air for scenes. Um, and the main actor, like he just grew on me as the movie went on. At first, I didn't really like him, but he started coming off like a clenched fist that was slowly like unraveling as it went on. Like you could tell he had these feelings inside and these things going on, but he didn't want to let anything out. He just held them in. And that eventual unclenching, like his story was beautifully and masterfully told. Like I love this movie. So, Mark,
Damn. All right. Well, I
hit me
guess
with it. Hit me with the side.
I'm the odd man out. I was absolutely bored to tears. I felt like I was watching a bunch of robots fresh off the press that were acting because there was I don't understand what everything was just monotonous and just the whole like this isn't how people talk to each other, like this isn't how people converse and just like everything was just ho hum and I just by the time the movie ended and she drove off, I just said I don't really care what happened. I'm just more upset that, now I don't know what the hell she's doing with that dog. So I don't know, man. Yeah, the story was okay, but just everyone was boring. Everyone was boring, and I felt like they had a gun to their head. The director was saying, "If you don't act, you're dead," and that's why this movie was finished. But yeah, that's my hot five.
Well, is it possible that something is just lost in translation there for you because um the from what I know of Japanese people and their culture, they're
Mhm.
not quite as um e- emotional, at least
Mhm.
or in their displays of
Yeah.
emotion. Yeah, they're not
They're
as
not as demonstrative.
exactly. Yeah, they're not as demonstrative, and so it
What the hell is that
sounds
word? Hold on.
demonstrative.
To
Yeah.
demonstrate, they don't demonstrate it as much.
Oh, okay. Why don't you just say they don't demonstrate it? Why you gotta say
No, he
demonstrative?
used it. It was used very well.
I don't care. I've never heard
I'm
that before.
sorry.
This is my first time hearing demonstrative.
Those are my $10 words. Sorry.
Isn't that demonstrative?
No, it's demonstrative. Lest we go too far
Yeah,
off
sorry,
topic
sorry.
here,
Yeah, yeah.
that's okay.
I'm proving to be an
Um,
uncultured swine as I talk. Go ahead, continue.
no, I mean yeah. Again, I see where
Well,
you're
yeah,
coming.
to go off what you're saying, no, I don't know anything about that. I don't watch many Japanese films, I guess I can say. But yeah, it felt like I was watching Mark Zuckerberg in a Japanese movie, and everyone was just like, "Yes, yeah, my wife, I loved her so much, and then she died, but then she cheats on me, but I still love her."
Well, for
And
me
then it's
that
like it just sits and lingers.
well, and
And she's like, "Yes, but she had her reasons." I'm like, "Oh my god." Yeah, I'm
well,
making stuff up, but
Oh,
but that just it's just the way they were interacting with each other. And I felt like because even with his wife, it was just I mean, they explained it later in the movie, but it was just weird watching it. I'm like, "What am I watching right now? What's happening?" Um and it all came together at the end, but I don't know. It was just it's I don't know, man. Me and cinema, I don't want to think so much. So just the fact that I really hated when they were, going through and practicing for it and reading lines. I was just like, this doesn't do anything for me. Like, I don't know how this is, you know, what does this have to do with the plot? But obviously things come together. But I don't know, man. It was just so
well,
good.
to me, those scenes were good because like it showed him having to interact with this guy he knows slept with his wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's trying to talk to him, give him direction, and he knows, and the other guy doesn't.
yeah.
Well, you don't know that until he finally says something.
Well, no, we know that the husband, the main guy, knew.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know. Like, yeah. All right.
Well, and that's what that's what I really liked, and what again kept me hooked. Again, it's not a movie for everyone, and that should probably be the first warning: is that not everyone's gonna get this movie. Not everyone's gonna enjoy sitting through the entire thing. But in all those scenes, for me, it was like there was so much going on beneath the surface. Again, with the tension between him and the guy that slept with his wife, and even the play and the dynamics there, with the actors getting so frustrated because he's just having them read the lines. They don't fully grasp what it is that he's trying to do, which is that practically everyone's speaking a different language, so they
Yeah.
need to know that script like the back of their hand, before
Right.
they even get into all the emotion, which I thought even that was like really cool, like how they I've never seen a play done like that with a bunch of different languages in different parts of the same script. Then the plays that they did, and how they kind of paralleled the story, I thought was really fascinating. I think the other thing, to your point, Mark, about the emotion, at least with the main character, again, I think part of it is the culture, but the other part of it, as I think of it, is the amount of loss that this guy has gone through, and really painful loss. I mean, remember that before his wife died and before he found out that his wife was cheating on him, which I don't think that was the first time he actually that had happened. It sounds like he was aware of other instances too,
Yeah.
but their child had died,
Yeah.
and he had said that completely changed their relationship and kind of took a lot of the fun and even the romance or the love out of it. So I think too, at least with the main character in particular, it was like this guy is I think emotionally, definitely emotionally stunted and frozen almost, and I think it was the slowly chipping away at that to him being able to feel more and allow himself to experience more and to kind of almost resurrect who he is.
And I think they also showed at the end, like during the whole time, he's dealing with so much guilt about her death. Not only her death,
Yeah.
like his daughter's death too, because you're a father and you didn't protect you couldn't protect your daughter. And then on top of that, like, not even about the affairs, but he's like, man, had I just come home a little earlier, had I just done that, like, and he's been carrying all that guilt, which again, it's unfounded because there's nothing he probably could have done, but
Hmm.
he's been carrying all this guilt about like, oh, we were supposed to talk and we didn't have that talk because I was afraid to have the conversation
Yeah.
because I didn't want anything to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I can't realistically see someone holding on to that much grief and baggage when he knows that his wife was fully cheating on him multiple times. It's like at that point it's like, I'm okay. I've moved on. It's just hard for me to grasp that, especially, and then to even converse with the person that he knows has had an affair with his wife. I like. Well, I guess that maybe we're watching because I was gonna say if you put any one of us in this scenario, none of us are gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna totally have a normal conversation with this guy and we're gonna be totally cool. Like it's not believable, And there was no lashing out, even when he was admitting it and telling about that story that only his wife had told him. It's like that's a slap in the face. No guy is gonna sit there and take that. It was tough for me to believe that all of this is happening and he's just okay with it.
But even that story she told, I felt was like when he was saying like the story about the girl and all that stuff. I
Yeah, I
think it
killed
was
him. I killed
parallel.
him. I killed him. I understand what you're saying,
No,
but
but I
that
think it paralleled like their marriage. Like maybe she just wanted some reaction, and he just never reacted because he was afraid to lose anything.
no, I took it as she was fully admitting that she ruined this, and that's why she was saying I killed him. I killed him. I killed him. So that's how I felt. She was coming out and saying, "Oh, I am fully, I am to blame for this, and I'm the one that did this." That's how I took it.
Well, no, that she was, but then like when she would see the guy, in the room that she was, like he acted like nothing was wrong. It's like, why are you acting like nothing's wrong? You know what I mean? Like, and then even the young guy who had the affair, he was
Yeah.
like, maybe she just wanted a reaction from you. Maybe she was trying to get your
yeah.
attention.
Yeah. All right.
Mm.
Well, he said something else. He said, maybe did you ask her what did he say? Did you ask her why or something?
Yeah.
He was saying like, why didn't
Uh,
you
Yeah.
dig more into it? Maybe
Hmm.
she
uh,
wanted you to dig more into it.
the main guy said he was afraid to lose her. He didn't want to change anything.
Yeah, I know. That's
Well, and,
tough.
and I think for me, like, so it was just the story, right? And again, I don't know what all the dynamics were exactly and the different factors that made him be that way. Again, how much is cultural and how much was just his specific personality or his trauma. But to me, that's kind of what made it more interesting. If we already know, the guy that flips out, right, and or ends his marriage, and and we would say that he was justified in doing that after being in the situation that this guy was in. But the fact that he didn't do it is what made it to me interesting. It was like, oh, all right, well, what's going on with this guy? Why isn't he reacting the way a normal person should react? And why is he so quiet? How is he able to have a conversation with this guy, even though you can tell he doesn't want to be there and he's clearly like pissed off by it, and yet he doesn't tell him off or anything. So, and for me it was like, made him an interesting character and an interesting situation, but also was like almost like tension, that was like slowly building, and just for me it was told very well, and it was very intriguing. Like each character for me was very fascinating. Every conversation was almost very, very fascinating. In some ways I don't even fully understand it, how even when they're just showing driving scenes, and it's still like there was still something like magical to me about it. Like it was still, you know really, uh, I know this sounds hokey, but it was beautiful to like watch.
Yeah, I don't think it was magical, bro. I think he was just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. So
No,
here's something that just really pulled it out for me. When this dude is literally telling a story about how, his wife actually finished the story, but well, not finished, but she gave more detail to the story to this guy, and he had no, like, he is admitting, okay, yeah, that your wife has been with other people, and that this whole orgasm thing is bringing out stories. So let me tell you about a story I brought out of her. And he tells the story, and it just cuts to the next thing. Like there's no, oh wow, I can't believe that. Like there was nothing. If a guy were to tell me, hey man, well, no, no, no. If I were to tell a guy, hey, man, I was having sex with my wife and she was just having all these stories because of her orgasm, and then he goes, yeah, man, I did the same thing, and this is the story. She had. Bro, I'd be like, yo, pull over. This guy needs to get out. Like, I don't want to hear this. So for him to just accept that, and I understand it's part of the story, but for him to accept it and not have any, like, emotion behind it, it wasn't believable for me. Like, no
uh,
person is that good.
but no, but I when I watched it, I thought he was taken like a little aback by the fact that this guy knew the end of the story. He's like, "Oh, you know the end?
But you
You
have,
know more of the
I
story."
know,
No,
but
but he didn't
that's your
react. No, but he didn't
what?
react out to it. But like with his face, like in his face, he's like, "Oh," like when he was questioning, "Oh, you know it?" And he's telling it, and then he just looks off. Like he did look to me. He seemed bothered by that. Like
I
it,
I
like
I didn't
it
get
was
that.
like pulling this. It was like pulling this thing off of him that he's like, "Oh, I thought that was only our thing."
No, I didn't find that he was bothered. I felt that he was confused. Like, whoa, 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 how do you know this story? Like, you gave my wife, like, you just literally said that all
Uh,
these people are giving, like, your wife is having
uh,
these affairs with people, and then you're surprised that he has this story. It just, for me, it was like, well, I mean, you literally just gave a story about how you were making her come, and that's how she was coming up with her stories, and she was making her remember. And then this dude's turning around going, yeah, same thing happened with me, and you're just like looking away. No, man, like nobody wants to hear details about their wife and
No, but
being.
that blanket statement is not true, because some people don't react the same way. Some people don't hold grudges. You got to remember that at this point, it's been 3 years since that happened, and again, I don't think this was the only time it happened, and this wasn't the only time. I think
That
that
she had
he
an affair?
that he yeah. I don't think it was the only affair, and I
Oh
don't think it
no.
was the first time that he had caught them. So I think at this point for him too, it's like, yeah, I hate this guy for what he did, but I also know, like, he's not the real villain. Like, he was a pawn. It was her problem, and our marriage and our dynamic, and this guy was a piece of it. But he also, I think at that point was like, I again, and like Kevin said, he's dealing with his own guilt. He's dealing with the things he couldn't say to his wife and his wife couldn't say to him. There's just so many dynamics to that you really can't just define, oh, he should have done this, or why. I mean, obviously we all think those things, but again, for me, that was what just made it interesting, is not knowing him, not being able to read him, and slowly deciphering perhaps what is making him the way that he is. I think something that's very interesting, that it doesn't immediately pop out at you, but even as we're talking, as I'm thinking about it, is like, there's something about this car, right? There's something about the car is red, right? It's the only bright red car you see in the entire movie,
Mhm.
against almost a backdrop of blue and gray. And the fact that he's had it for over 15 years, and it's so well, like, so obsessively and meticulously um, cared for, right? Like it tells to me, it tells me something about that guy, right? That's how he is, that's how organized he is, and that's how he wants to care for the things that have a that mean a lot to him, for the things that he loves. And like Kevin mentioned, he wasn't able to do that for his kid. He wasn't able to do that for his wife. And so I think it he's in a you know kind of like a stage in life of not only loss but also like identity crisis probably, and like confusion. And I don't know how he's still able to work, although you see that his work was affected because he could no longer really act in at least act in that play and do that role. But yeah, for me, there's some fascinating things going on there. And look, all this time, we're still only talking about him. We haven't even talked about, the girl driving the car, the guy that was married to the mute lady, like the young guy that was the guy that, slept with his wife, but, who also had a bunch of stuff that he was dealing with. And like, just the way that all these stories were like weaved together, and again, like each character was so interesting. And yeah, to me that
I
was all really good.
I feel I'm laughing because you almost said deaf girl because I thought she was deaf and she's like, oh yeah, I can hear everything. I'm like, wait, did they explain why she doesn't talk? I don't remember. No, right?
No, they didn't. She just can't talk.
Yeah. All right.
That's all it was.
So I do find it funny that that you're bringing light to this narrative because I didn't think about it. Like he couldn't maintain the relationship with his wife. He couldn't keep his daughter safe. But man, that car is beautiful.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and
Hey,
then
hey,
even that was being taken away from him with his glaucoma.
Yeah.
but about the glaucoma, the one thing that annoyed me was they introduced the glaucoma, so I was like, oh, that's why he's not going to be able to drive.
Yeah.
And then that didn't play into anything later. It was just like, oh no,
Well,
you can't drive. You
They're
can't
still
drive
smoking
because somebody hit
cigarettes.
somebody before.
no, but you missed something, because they knew more than they were letting on, because he was the only one that couldn't drive. All the actor who was there, he had his
Oh,
car
true.
and he was able to drive. And they said that they didn't let anybody drive because of an incident that they had or whatever, but it was actually only him. And even the way they were acting, like when they were trying to tell him that, like I knew something was up, but then when I put those things together, I just think they didn't want to let on that they actually knew why he couldn't drive.
But that's a better point. I just thought because he was the resident artist, that's why they didn't let him.
They were
Because
catering to him.
yeah, that no, you can't drive because the last resident killed somebody.
That could be it too.
No, but no, it makes sense because
No,
they
I
did
like
act a
yours
little
better.
bit
I
weird
like yours
around him.
better. Yeah. Yeah, that makes more
And then-
sense.
They brought in the Japanese Ellen Page there.
Yeah, I was it was hard for me to um be interested in her because I mean, I thought he was monotonous. She was like, I mean, brain dead. Like when he at the dinner when they're talking with the mute girl and her husband, and he's like complimenting her. She literally just gets up and just starts playing with the dog. I'm like, is she autistic? Like I don't understand. Like what am I supposed to take from that? It was just it's so like all the interactions were just so weird thing, and maybe that's a cultural thing. Like I it's customary for someone to take a compliment and just go do anything else.
Well,
than
no,
be a
but
part
like
of
I took it as for her. Like she said, she really appreciated it. But if you hear about her life, she's not used to getting compliments or being talked nice about.
I
So that's why
get,
she was there. She just got up. She's like, even though it was awkward, I'm like, what is she doing on the floor?
I know.
Because you didn't see the dog at first.
No, I thought, I heard it said because I watched subtitles. Well, obviously for this one subtitles, but I always have subtitles on. But it said like panting, and I'm like, is she being like if is she in like a subservient mode and she's now a dog and groveling on the floor? So that was yeah, that was weird. But I guess okay. The way things were presented, I just felt like it was just trying to bring you back in. Like when he had the interaction with the guy, I was just like, whoa. When she was like, I killed my mom, I was like, whoa. It was just, I don't know, just things were just brought up so nonchalantly, and it was just like, whoa, that's pretty major. But it's given in this monotonous tone, like, yeah, I killed my mom, and yeah, it was not a flood, but you know what I mean, whatever it
Like
was.
a mudslide, landslide.
Mudslide, yeah, yeah, and I knew she was in there. I didn't do anything about it.
'Cause I think she was
It's
like,
like,
again,
what do
she's
you
also
mean?
she was dealing with her like guilt of it, which again she wasn't responsible. She was a kid, or she was 18, but
Yeah, I know.
Well, and I think that was the other thing is like part of the story is, these two individuals who,
Yeah,
have been worlds apart and yet have gone through so much. Suddenly, they're stuck in this car together, and as things unfold, um, they find solace, in each other's company and in having someone to share, to really share their story
yeah,
with.
and then when the main guy finds out her age, it was the same age his daughter would be.
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah.
So that was really good.
Yeah.
A part of me expected like him to fall in love with her, and I think that's what I was waiting for, and I was worried about that. And when it didn't happen, well, I you really can't say it didn't happen
Right.
because
You don't know.
the ending's up in the air.
Yeah.
Maybe they did fall in love, and she's still catering to him. Or maybe he was just like, "Hey, man, I'm letting go of everything that I had. Here you go." I don't know. I don't know.
Like
But
I took it as they do love each other, but it wasn't like amorous love. They found like this little like healing from she didn't really have a father, and he didn't he lost his kid, and there was that connection that they ended up building together.
that's what I want to believe. Yes, I do
I know,
want to believe
but
that. But I didn't feel that was the case. Like when they were hugging for as long as they were, I'm like, yo, they're gonna kiss, and I was waiting for them. Like I really was. I was sitting there going, okay, he's totally. They're looking at her. He's gonna kiss her, and fade to black. I'm like, all right, maybe okay. Are they living happily ever after? And then they cut to the play, and I don't know, man. It just I think like Juan said, it just wasn't for me. It's one of those movies that just wasn't for me. I mean, I think however many episodes we've done, I think our audience can easily tell that I'm usually brain dead when it comes to movies. If there's no bang bang pow pow, whoa, I don't know what's going on. And obviously I take that with a grain of salt. I do like my serious movies, but I don't know. I guess I just feel like the way that the Japanese culture is, it just doesn't make sense to me. I know that they don't wear their sleeves on their their emotions on their sleeves like we do. We're Americans. We're very colorful in our emotions, and we have no problem, yelling and screaming at someone because we're upset. In Japan, they don't do that. That's not something they just harbor it, and then it becomes fuel for a movie. I don't know, and that's different. So for me, it was hard for me to believe everything that's going on because I know that that's not how I would react in this scenario.
Yeah. Um, so my take on the ending of the movie, as I think about it now, because a big question for me was, what's up with that dog? And if I remember correctly, it's very similar to the dog that other couple had.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the same dog. So
You saying that she stole the dog?
no, I'm saying that she still worked for them. I think he left, like the director. I think he left and left her the car. And she smiles at the end because she is at peace, and has been able to move on from her trauma. But there's just so many things she said about how I really like your car, and it's I can tell you really took care of it, things like that. And again, the fact that he's not in the shot at the end, that dog is there, which I'm almost sure is their dog. So I think she's like, obviously she's really close with them. They're the ones that got her that job, driving and kind of took care of her. They definitely advocated for her when he didn't want to drive her, and they were like, no, give her a shot, try it out. So
Yeah.
there's, I think that that's my guess, is that he probably moved on, but left her the car. Also because it's so tied to like her identity. Like she's like, driving's the only thing I know. And also it's similar. It's even the setting, right, of where her sort of rebirth took place was, from what happened in that car. So I definitely think that if she wasn't the exact same age as his daughter, like even if she was like 2 years older or whatever, I think that I could see them ending up together. But the fact that she was the exact same age as his daughter, um, that makes it a little weird for me. I don't think that was, is the case of them falling in love, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So, why do you think she got a car and a dog?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Well, because she definitely doesn't have any family.
No, I know, but I could see him gifting her the car, but you're thinking that dog belonged to the family. Why would they give her that dog? Like,
I
it's
don't.
not easy to give up a pet. It's easy to give up a car.
No, I agree. I don't think that's. Yeah, I guess it's unexplained, but I guess I was just thinking like that she's still working for that couple, and so
Yeah,
maybe she's just
just went for a
running.
ride with the dog.
Yeah, yes, that's where I'm thinking. But yeah, it's not a great explanation, but
No, no, it's not a matter of not a great explanation. I'm just trying to figure out where your head's at for that.
yeah,
Um, because I I mean, I didn't go anywhere close to what you were doing. I was just like, oh, I mean, I don't. Did he die? And she's just like driving. I didn't really understand what the whole point was. So I'm just kind of feeding off what you said.
yeah,
Like I really don't know how to take that ending, and I know some people like things like that where it's up to you, oh, like Inception. Oh, well, do you think he made it back to his kids or not? Like, I don't like those type. Like, just tell me. I invested 3 hours. Give me an ending.
yeah,
Just give me that respect. So once the play ended and then they cut back to her, I kind of like was like, oh my god, this movie's not ending. But watching that whole scene where she's walking towards um the car, she gets in the car. I mean, did she leave the dog in there the whole time? Because that's not good. Like that dog was in a sealed car. Like that's not good. Yeah. Where is she going? Like her face looked cleared. Like that scar wasn't there anymore. So I mean, is she wearing makeup or like a scar like that just doesn't disappear? So is she trying to like better herself, or are you trying to make me believe that that scar disappeared? Like there was just so many things. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Where is
yeah,
he? And I mean, the car is still pristine, and she's grocery shopping. So is she shopping for him? Is she shopping for
yeah,
herself? There's just too many what ifs, and
yeah,
I don't like endings like that. Just tell me, hey, she totally got rid of him, and she's like, you know what, I'm gonna do me, and she went and adopted a dog. Then I'd be like, okay, cool. I don't really understand why she did all that, but great, she did it. At least now I have an ending. Instead, I got some like I don't know what the hell to think.
Well, but you got to smile. So isn't that enough for you that if you don't know anything else, if everything else is
She's
still
happy.
undetermined, yeah, she's at least
Well, because she didn't smile any time before
ex-
that, so that makes
ex-
sense.
exactly.
And I also think the
I
car,
guess.
like he kept it so nice because he used to take his wife and rides, and it represented his love for his wife. And then when he finally cried and let her go, he was able to give the car away. He's like, "Hey, I don't need this anymore."
Yeah,
Um,
we'll never know.
Mark, what do you think about this being based off of a short story by Haruki Murakami?
There's no there's no possible way you can muster up a 3-hour movie off of a short story.
Well, it was like part of like
2 other short stories too.
2 other, yeah, it was part of a series.
So it was a book of short stories that has adapted into a movie.
Like
The book was called Men Without Women.
yeah, the main story I think is the Murakami, but then it took elements from some of the other stories as well.
Here's the thing for me. I really truly believe that if the main character showed just a little bit more, I would have been more invested because I mean, I deal with stuff, you deal with stuff, Kevin, you deal with stuff. Like we all deal with things and we have emotions. Like I'm 38 years old and I could tell you I still like I've cried. I've cried, you know. I didn't stop crying at 7. I didn't stop crying at 18. Like I still have moments where I cry, like I have emotions. And to sit and watch this guy battle through all these different things that he's going through, and it just felt like he was cold to it all, and he was just I don't know, it didn't feel like this guy was really going into emotions. And I don't I like any man that says that, oh, I don't cry, like you're not a man. Like if you can't be honest with yourself, then you're not a man. Like let's point blank. Like we all go through things. We struggle. Like we have our days where we're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know up from down. Like I don't know anything right now, and I'm drowning. You know, and as a man, it's hard for you to say, "Hey, I need help," or whatever. So you wanna put on that tough guy face, but behind the scenes, like we all have emotions. And to see this guy go through so much and just he was the same the whole time, like he just felt calculated. It was hard for me to like fall like it was hard for me to believe him, and it was hard for me to invest in his story because he just seemed like he was turned off from it all, you know?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, he was like broken. But sometimes that is one of the effects of that is like you become completely emotionally detached.
Right, but we saw him become attached. We saw him become invested. We saw him pour into someone, into something, but we still didn't get that emotion wise. We just got it story wise.
Well,
He didn't
he
change.
broke down and cried
I
in the snow.
yes, but that's because that he forced this girl to do something that she probably didn't want to do, you know. And at that point, I feel like he was crying because, like, man, I really screwed you up, girl. I'm sorry, I made you do all this.
He
I don't
didn't
know, man.
force her.
I know, but it's hard for me to watch all, and then at the end, he finally has his moment of, you know.
Well, what was hardest for me to watch was uh, just seeing him sitting in that car, knowing she's probably driving so slow, and and just the patience that he had. I guess he appreciated, you know, how well she drove, but you know, the way that he was describing like her hitting the brakes and him not feeling it or even accelerating, it would for someone to drive that flawlessly, it's like you're driving the speed limit or below. And I was like that's more patience than I can ever muster. Anyone there?
Here, I was just thinking about it. I was like we talked about the culture and stuff. Maybe they don't drive fast in Japan, so maybe he was like, it's cool.
Well, the drifters drive fast.
True, Tokyo Drift. But no, but like what you said, like but at least it made for some man when they were smoking, when they were driving, they were holding it out of the man, that shot was just beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Well, then speaking of beautiful shots, so here's something that I was gonna say and see how what you guys think. But so there are, you know, movies that I watch that I'm like, I could probably direct that movie. Sometimes
Whoa, name one, please.
I don't know.
Zeros and ones.
I don't know why. Yeah, that's one.
What?
There's lots of like, you know, like maybe like action movies and stuff like that. That sometimes I just think like
Transformers.
this would have been a better choice, or I would have done that differently, you know. So sometimes I think like, oh, I could do that. Sometimes I think, oh, I could do a better job than that. But with this one, dude, I was like, I could not direct this movie. Like,
Oh, I could have.
it was
100%.
like everything was like so precise, you know. And again, even shots that, to me, I mean, I would have, it seems like, why would I shoot this boring shot, or hold, you know, like Kevin said, hold on this frame for so long. There was just a certain like sensibility that, you know, it just encapsulated the story so well. You know, it was almost like, you know, the camera work and the cinematography were a part of the story. Like, it would, like, they were a character of the story, kind of like haunting the whole thing throughout, is really almost what it felt like to me. So it was just like, man, this this would be impossible for me to look at this story on a, you know, in script form, and then go out and try to, you know, direct it in a way that is moving and effective, and really masterful. I was extremely impressed.
Like
You
that
know,
shot at the end with the snow and the barren trees. Sorry, Mark. I just wanted
no,
to get this before I forget it. But like when they were hugging, it just showed like the snow and the barren trees. I thought that was gorgeous. And then it just cut to the car by itself. And then that's when it cut, I think, to the play. And I was like, wow, that was really good. Sorry, Mark, I cut you off.
no, it's probably good because I was gonna go off topic. I don't. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's funny you say that, because I 100% think I could have made a better film than what we just saw. So, okay, so over the weekend, I don't know if it was Sunday or Monday, but a commentator mentioned that some of these NFL coaches should play Madden so they can have more of these moments where, like, there's a minute 30 left, I'm down a touchdown, what am I going to do, you know?
Hmm.
Because when they're actually in those moments, they make dumb decisions, and we're yelling at the screen like we know what to do because we've seen it all, like we've seen it so many times that yes, I am. And 9 times out of 10 the fans are usually making the right decision, but it's because we've seen it so often, you know. I think that these directors, they need to start watching other movies because I really truly feel like ain't nobody watch. That's why, you know why Tarantino's great, because he comes out and says, "I watched these movies. I thought this movie was great. I thought this was bad," and he's talking about movies that came out in the last couple years. You know, I really truly feel like there's a disconnect. And these directors who are all like, "Oh yeah, you know, I make good movies." I really don't feel like they're truly watching cinema. And for them, this is not. It's just a job. They're doing a job, and they're putting out work, and that's that. But if they really truly sat and watched other movies to say, man, that was a terrible decision, like we are all thinking, we would no longer continue to get these terrible decisions on screen. Now, yeah, obviously for this one, you know, we're torn. Like there was a lot of things I could have done better, and you guys are like, man, I understand that. But for other movies, we're all like, you know what, we could have done something better. I really truly believe that we could have done something better because we are consuming this product, you know. And I don't think that directors and NFL coaches are consuming their product, if that, you know, all makes sense.
But you have to, I mean, again, what I thought about this movie was that there's something this movie, you know, in a kind of like, it's in the foreground, but also kind of like in the background, you know, because it's both, sort of conscious, it's sort of present, but then also kind of not present. But for me, this movie was all about like storytelling, because, you know, the plays are obviously a prominent part of the movie, right? He's
Mhm.
going through the lines all of the time. He's directing the movie. He's thinking about that all of the time. His wife was also, you know, in TV, but she was writing stories and telling stories. And then, so you see that kind of a constant presence of storytelling being very pronounced. And then you see, like, you know, this is none of these characters are two-dimensional. Like, the director, and perhaps why it is 3 hours long, is because every character has a story that is fleshed out, you know, towards like why they are the way they are, or the dynamics of almost all of the main, and even some of the not leading, but some of the supporting characters. So for me, ultimately, this was just a really good story, shot really beautifully, and that's what really had me hooked, was like the story of each one of these characters, and how they came together, but even who they were before this, and even what happens to them, right? Because obviously the young guy ends up getting arrested. We don't know what's going to happen to him. This was definitely like the straw that broke the camel's back, because he was clearly on this path for a while, and again, it's so open-ended at the end, but for me it was just it was like master class in just really good character development and storytelling.
His little story was kind of funny to me. When that guy took the picture and walked away, and then he like followed after him. I was just like, oh my gosh, like, so this guy just likes doing stupid things.
Yeah.
And
Because
so,
because even the main guy said, when he was like, "Oh, well, you get hit on women, what would you do?" He goes, "You could simply say no."
Yeah.
But he had problem controlling his impulses.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and um, the whole picture taking thing, I don't understand how he wouldn't. I don't know,
Do
celebrities,
you know why they were taking pictures of him though?
because he's well, not that he was a celebrity, but he had that. Sorry, I've watched this movie in like over 3 days,
Yeah,
so
same.
that part's a little
No,
gray.
no, because he got I think a sex tape came out. He was with a minor, and
That's right.
that's
It
why
was
he was
underage.
notorious.
Right. It was the
Yeah,
underage thing. Right.
and
Right.
that's
Right.
why they kept taking pictures of him. Go, oh, this guy's here.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was just, I don't know, man. Like, but also, if you know that that's going on, then why would you be seen in public? You have to I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you got to live your life.
Yeah. Oh, he was living it all
And
right.
well, and he also only went out there, like you said, he lost his career and everything, but he went because he knew that guy was there and he wanted to act in this girl's
Yeah. Yeah.
play and stuff, and he wanted to talk to him. I don't think he was just going out like to the clubs and everything.
I mean, we don't know that.
We don't. We know he was sleeping with the other girl, Julie Chan or whatever her name was.
Yeah.
Julie Chen. No,
Chan.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't
I
remember her
was
name.
I was lending her an ear. I'm like, she doesn't speak Japanese and you don't speak English or Mandarin. I was like, that's a great line.
Oh man. It was also hard for me to have any emotion for the driver, because she, like, emotionless. Her picture is right there. She had no emotion till the end, and I understand that's how it was for the story, but like it was like opposite sides. Like she was like so completely like, just the only thing that I'm here is to hold the steering wheel. And then at the end, she's, driving and wearing makeup. I don't know. Do you think so? Scars don't disappear like that. So, like, they purposely showed that her, and that line wasn't there anymore. So, I mean, do you think she was wearing makeup, or do you think the scar disappeared?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly didn't catch that, so I'm
Oh,
I'm I'm kind of surprised that you did. Just because like I didn't think it was that noticeable, is what I mean.
I
Um,
I
well,
but
they
I
always
did
show
notice
that
it.
side of her though. They
Yeah,
always,
uh,
when
like
she
that.
was driving, they showed that side often of her, and you
yeah,
could see
Her,
that line. It started at her ear
yeah,
and it went across the cheek.
I do think that you're probably right, that she, probably was wearing makeup, and I just I in a way, without, again, trying to maybe go pull you guys too deep or whatever, but sometimes the lack of emotion, like, is an emotion, like, that is revealing more than it's holding back, and so, but yeah, no, to your point, I do think that she probably was, and that's probably another, like, another hint, or
No,
another sign
well,
that
because
she's turned
well
a
put.
page.
I think that's her way of showing emotion. She's not she doesn't have emotion, but she can do something different, and now she feels better. We can see
Right,
that.
Yeah, because that scar she got from when her mom died, right? The mudslide or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she carried it. I think people said you can fix it, but she doesn't want to fix it because this is her shame she's carrying.
Yeah.
And then when
Oh,
she
whoa,
lets go,
whoa!
also at the end.
This kid's coming out of left field saying that she got it fixed.
No. I'm saying like she didn't want to get it fixed or put makeup on it. That's what I'm trying to say. You know,
Oh,
she didn't want to conceal it at all. She might have gotten it fixed. I don't know, but she didn't want to conceal it
left
all
field.
because no. But this is for the world to see. Like, no, this is what happened. Like, this is my shame. And when she put that little cigarette in the snow, you know, and threw those flowers for her mom, she's like, you know what? She came to peace with, you know what? It wasn't her fault, and I don't have to show the world this. And she let go also.
Mm.
Like that was like her version of the car was that scar.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. I'll take it. Yeah, I'm just when it comes to I'm easygoing. Just hey, tell me this is point A and we're going to point B and that happens. You might want to throw in a point, A point one, throw me off my little rocker, but I know at the end we're still gonna be at point B. And yeah, I think that's what it is for me. I like knowing that we're ending somewhere. I really don't like the oh well, what do you think happened? I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I just watched all this. I don't know. So just tell me.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of that was like the cherry on top for me. I was watching like not enough. There was not enough for me to be engaged. And then at the end I get a well, what do you think? Like, oh man, I don't know. Wait, can we start over again? I didn't know it was gonna be one of those types of movies.
To me, like I did feel there was an ending. Like the ending wasn't, oh, this is where he's at. No. I'm gonna no. Like the ending was he let go, and then the ending was she let go. You know what I mean? And they moved on. Not necessarily like, oh look, now he started off a new job over here. I felt like when he released, even when they did the play and he did that play again, you can see he could do it. I'm like, that was the end. I'm like, oh look, he let go. He let go of his wife. He let go of that guilt, and he's moved on, and that was the end.
Okay, so to go off what you're saying, then where was she driving? Because they emphasized that she was driving somewhere. Where was she driving?
No, this is what I'm telling you on that. Like, I don't think that had anything to do. She was just driving. No, because like there was no point where she was trying to get. No, she wasn't trying to get to any place. You know, she was trying to get to that. Like her story was about her letting go and healing, and that scar disappearing was that destination for her. And then she got in the car and she drove off. You know what I mean? It's okay. I'm like, that's just it. Like that wasn't the whole main point, at least to me, of her journey. Wasn't, hey, I'm going to get to this destination point, like physically. She got to it emotionally and got to that spot where she could let go and cover up and actually have happiness, like actually crack a smile.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also like, both he and her, because of their trauma and their, circumstances, it was like their life was just in a loop, like they were just going in a circle, of just nothingness, and then whatever this moment of this sort of breakthrough kind of allowed them to break that loop where now they're not just going in a circle. Now they're able to just move forward. And that's I think the ending, and that's what Kevin is describing. It's like they had this moment that now allows them. I think there's a part in the dialogue when he's talking, he's saying, I'm a 56 years old or however, or 47. I think he was 47 or 46 or something like that. And he was like, in this much time, I'll be 60 or 70. And so this is how many years I have left. And, how am I going to kind of live those years out? There was something that was hinted at like that. And so, I think now they do, or her, it's just, the ending is just so interesting. It's like, why didn't they show him? Why is it her? What's the car? What's the dog? Yeah, like you said, where's she going? What about the scar? Like, but but the important thing is that, yeah, whatever this whole movie represented was them arriving at this place of being able to confront, their ghosts, and really move past it.
So that's the ending. You just exactly. I had an epiphany while you were talking. You said the ending. He couldn't do that play, and in the end, he did it. And that was his way of saying, I can do this. I'm done with it. Like it's over. Like I've given this, and that's that. That's his ending. Then we go to her. She's able to get, oh my, I'm over the fact that maybe I did kill my mom or whatever, and here I am. I'm going. So we got two endings, and that's, you just can't put them simultaneously. You
Yeah.
have to play. So we left the snow, and we go directly into the and we
Yeah.
watch him do that play, and we watch the applause, and that light goes out. That was his ending.
Yeah.
And then we go to her,
Yeah.
and she's coming out of a grocery store. She has groceries. She gets in the car. You see a dog, and that was like the only thing she really connected with, that she was able to walk to with no problem, was a
Yeah.
dog. So now she has this dog in her car, and she's driving, because what does she only know how to do? She knows how to drive. But where is she going? It doesn't matter. She's happy.
Yeah, I like that. So again, something else that is interesting, right, is at the beginning of the movie, the first play that he's acting out is this
Hmm.
play called Waiting for Godot.
Hmm.
Kevin, you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it, but yeah.
So it's by the same writer, by
I've
Chekhov.
heard of it too.
Yeah. Yeah, they've made it into movies and stuff. But like I only know of it because of, a theater class that I had in college.
Ah,
And
damn. Okay, I ain't never heard of it. All right, I was
um
lying.
but look, Waiting for Godot is about these two characters, and they're just waiting for this mysterious Godot. I don't remember what their background is, but it's just them waiting the whole time. And they talk about life, they talk about this, or they talk about a whole bunch of stuff, but the whole time it's just them waiting, and they don't know when Godot's gonna show up, and blah blah blah. And again, it was so poignant. Again, there was so much more going on with those plays, and the story. But that, I think, that was setting up like it's actually these two characters that are waiting for Godot, and they're just stuck in this waiting for their misery to end, until the day comes, or the circumstance comes, when life just thrusts them together, and at this festival, and doing this or that, with all these other people, and their breakthrough happens. But that's pretty cool.
Where else, bro? I feel like I've heard this. Where else was that mentioned?
Wait,
That was mentioned
Waiting for
somewhere.
Guffman.
Waiting for Guffman is a version of Waiting for Godot. Yeah.
Maybe that's why I've heard of it then. Because I've heard of Waiting for Godot,
Yeah.
and how it's just two
Oh,
people who are.
yeah. Oh no, you're right. You're right. It's definitely mentioned in another movie. Like, and I do. Yeah, that sounds very familiar. What you're describing.
Because they even explain what it is, and
Yeah.
then you realize that you're watching that. You're watching us Waiting for Godot, because these two people are just talking,
Yeah.
and it's like, I gotta look that up now. You got me. I was
Yeah.
like searching as you were talking, but I've seen that somewhere from something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very interesting. I hated it because I was like, at the time, I was like in my early 20s, and I was like, I don't get this. This is stupid. This is miserable, in fact, But there's so many like things that I'd like to go back and read now that I have the depth to actually process them and make sense of them.
Yeah.
But all right. Unless there's any final words, I think we can move on to our ratings here. And then I've got a lovely little tidbit of information to share with you guys. Just like, it's not quite trivia, but it's a little
Just
something.
stop where you are, bro. You have me. You got me by the balls. Don't even continue.
All
Now he's
right.
just gonna rush through his ratings.
I will start, and if you're listening to this, I hope you enjoyed the speed at which I spoke with today.
Yo, why are you so salty, bro?
I knew I should have. He told me that like months ago. I was never gonna say it.
That
No,
high sodium, bro. It's not good for you, man.
it's fine. All right, I'll kick us off. Yeah, I mean, again, this is another one. I really liked it after I saw it. But even more so now after us talking about it. But even just the cinematic experience, again, I really do feel like it was a directorial masterpiece. Not an easy story, I think, to put on film, and yet it was done really well in a way that was interesting, in a way that gave each character their fair share, and each of their stories was respected and told thoroughly, and again just gave some good context there just for life stuff and situations, and yeah, just overall good storytelling. Not for everyone, I am sure. um I if someone, I don't know. I don't know what intrigued me about it, but I was intrigued by it, and took a chance on it. But I really liked it. I don't know how often I would see this, but I wouldn't mind seeing it again at some point in the future. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 3.
All right,
Nice.
Kevin.
All right. One line that really hit me is maybe she did love you, and maybe she just wanted other lovers too. That spoke to her brokenness. I thought there was a lot of deepness to this movie. I thought it was beautiful. I really did. I thought, just like when we reviewed Everything Everywhere All at Once, I think there's so much more layered into this movie than even talking about it. Like we were just revealing more stuff that we all caught. And we all saw the same movie. We all caught different things. It's just a 3 because man, there's so much. I do want to watch it again. I will caution that I do have to make sure I'm well rested and there's plenty of time because it does go a little bit slow at some parts, but I think that's intentional and I do think people should see it. So that's a 3.
All right. Well, I apologize to our listeners. I have realized I am an uncultured swine. If there's no pew pew pew, I'm probably not really that invested. With that being said, I thought this was emotionless. I didn't really feel like I was invested in anyone. Um, I really truly think I could make this a beautiful 1 hour and a half movie.
You
You know,
also think you also think though, based off of our Top Gun Maverick review, you also think that you could learn to fly a jet plane in a year.
confidence is not a learned skill, my friend. It is just in you, and my confidence is that I can make this a beautiful 1 hour and a half movie while also flying a jet and flipping you off as I go by your house. So that's where I'm at. I cannot see myself ever recommending this to anyone. Nah, that's not true. I can recommend this to someone who's got nothing but time on their hands and really just does not care where anything goes. And I'm like, okay, I got a great movie for you. Drive my car because it might go off a cliff. It might go into a railing, or it's just going to keep driving. You never know. And by the end of this movie, you still won't know. So no. But again, I think it's just my preference. The story didn't have me by the balls, and if the story at least had me by the balls, I could have done with the robots that were acting, but just couldn't do it. So that's unfortunately a one little Jerry for me, and yeah, I hope to never encounter this movie again.
All right, the coveted 3 for 3 continues to evade me, but I will get there.
I apologize, man.
That's
But
okay.
don't worry,
I appreciate your honesty.
the Mark Polito cut We'll be here in 2024, and then we can do another review of Drive My Car Again.
My car too.
Sounds
No,
good.
no,
Yeah.
it's called Drive My
Oh,
Car
my car.
Again.
Oh, my bad. Second gear.
No. Drive My Car Again.
Uh,
That's all. That is the title. I've already thought this through.
so here's my tidbit.
Hit me. I love
You-
kids and I love bits.
I recently stumbled upon this and was fascinated by it. You know the show Inside the Actor Studio,
Yes.
hosted by James Lipton.
Mhm.
You know that's an actual class, that it's a school for acting or for theater or for the arts, but that's an actual class that students take where it's a lecture.
Mhm.
Do you know who the and Kevin probably knows this, but do you know who's the first student to have graduated from that program, to then have had so much success in their acting career that they were the first graduate to be invited back to be a guest in that on that show?
I did know this, but I don't know it right now.
I am.
And it was
I'm
like,
gonna.
go
I'm
ahead.
gonna say. Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, that's a good guess. It took 17 years, and it
Mhm.
was like the highlight of James Lipton's life when it
Wait.
happened.
Can I give a second guess?
Sure.
JGL.
Bradley Cooper.
Dang. All right.
Bradley Cooper. The episode is on YouTube. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
So he is the only actor to go on again.
don't know if he's the
Or
only.
is he the
but
first?
He was the first.
The first.
He was
Okay.
the first to, like, he went through that program, he graduated, and then he had so much success that they invited him as a guest, as an honorary guest.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, if he's not the first, who else would have been a part of that?
I don't know.
What do you mean if he's not the only?
Well, if he's not the only.
I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
if I don't know if there's any that have
Correct me,
reached
jeez.
that would have reached his level of the height of his acting career. I don't know that there's anyone yet. I think.
Mhm. Yo, so I mentioned that Brad Pitt was my automatic, and I think you guys said that you have your automatics now.
Yeah, I told
Yes.
you mine. Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling and Kevin.
Mine was post rehab Colin Farrell.
What do you mean post?
He's not interested in him when he was an addict.
Listen, I'm not interested in
That's
Alexander,
messed up, man.
but after Alexander,
All right, noted.
because that's what after Alexander he went to rehab, and then everything after that was great.
We got to do an Instagram post about that. We'll talk about each other's automatics and give our like top 3 movies that we feel that they deserve.
All right, that's good. I will work on that.
Right?
I'm there. I'm there.
Very good.
Let's powwow.
All right.
Let's powwow over that.
All right, gents. It's been a pleasure, like usual.
Yeah, stay tuned for more reviews. If you're listening, we will continue speaking quickly.
And as they say in Japan, arrivederci.
Love you.